suffering through us with our technical difficulties. It's a Monday, always has some fun shenanigans happening, whether you want it to or not. Hey, Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Happy Monday.
Good to see you guys. We are starting a mini series today, which is custom themes and shared styles with the master of custom themes and shared styles, Nick himself. So that'll be really fun. If you would like to support the channel, feel free to pick one of these options here. Basically, if you're like, I really like the free videos you guys do 5 days a week for an hour, but also I need more specific topics, or I need something like you to cover the topic more quickly or concisely, or with animations or what have you. The nature of streams is that they are active and interactive, and they go on for a while. So as a result, we can meander. That's kind of the intent, to be honest. We're here to interact with the community, not just sit here and lecture you. But if you would prefer to have lectures, which I totally can understand, we have that option for you. We're in our video training. Feel free to pick one of the options. There's a variety of videos that come with each, and there's a very detailed list and summary of what goes in each option. And also, it keeps the stream running, which is always pretty cool. We appreciate that. If you have bought it, thank you very much. So, I'm kind of content to just hand this over to you, Nick. I don't think I've got a lot of anything else to cover. So, what are we doing today, Nick? What's the plan?
The plan is to do to learn and understand the themes. Okay, so themes are very weird. So it's very weird sometimes. So they can have very bad attitude. So the themes in FileMaker are very peculiar. Okay, first we need to understand objects. Objects are complex entities, right? In FileMaker, and we have many objects. We have popovers, we have buttons, fields, texts. We have polls. Polls are quite a bit complex to understand. Okay, so it's important to understand the object, the states, the component of the objects, what they do, and what the theme is going to store, right? And obviously, I'm going to show you how to maintain a theme up to date without screwing it, okay? So, because you can screw it badly, okay? So I'm going to show you all of this, okay? How to build a theme completely from scratch, right? And how to, optimize your theme. It's very important to have a theme complete, full, with many objects, because, all the objects you need mostly, because it helps the layout to load faster. It helps you to build faster, right? And that's why I came with this theme that I call Morpheus. Is part of the FMSP. The standard version. The standard version of FMSP has one, but with a lot of objects removed. So first, what I want to talk about design in general and the theme and how it looks and how we build things, right? So first, what you learn when you go to a design school or stuff like this, right, is that today the audience, your audience, is educated. We are all educated in UI, our screens and stuff like this. We all educated. We from your fast food to the ATM machine to I don't know, an airport, or what, you have touch screens, you have your phone, you have your tablet, your computer. We all are familiar with interface. We know how to recognize things. There's pictograms that we will always recognize. If I show you like two bars, two curve like this with an arrow, that shuffle. In music, right? So if I show you this somewhere in the world, you won't recognize it, or you will. But if I show you this in a music app, you connect the dots, you connect the dots, oh, or if I show you two bars like this on the wall, you will say, okay, that two bars. But if I show you two bars on the music player, you say, oh, that pose, right? The same for arrow, so you connect, right? If I show you a phone like we don't have since many years, if I show you a phone icon like this in WhatsApp or oh, that will call, right? A phone that will voice call, right? So we connect the dots, we recognize things, we know a list is scrollable, so we don't need the scrolling bar to be there all the time to symbolize, oh, this is a scrolling bar, okay, right? So I can do something like it. So in the past, we need to put a lot of things to make sure that people understand. Today is no longer necessary. Okay, we can have in the past, we need a button to be like a button, right? Like a physical button, like a play button under under a tape player, right? Like you push back. In the past, they were doing this, until recently, until 2011, when Apple and many of people decide to get rid of this because yeah, it's okay. We reach maturity, so we don't need to have all those things. That's the reason behind this. It's not because it's better. Yeah, it's better, but that's a reason behind this. And the reason is money. Money is economical. It's an economic reason. That the first reason always when you do something, when something happen, is always about money. And in your case too, because your time is money, right? So why I explain that to you? Because why they remove the background of buttons, why they remove the effect of pressing the button like this, why they remove the embossed effect of a button pressed like this. Why? Because that was costly in terms of designing it and implementing it. It was like 10 times, 20 times more time to build something like this that just a floating text with an icon, right? So a floating text with an icon costs nothing. There's no background, there's no border, there's no, there's nothing. It's a text, boom, right? It's an icon floating. You have an icon, you have a plus icon floating in the top of or right of your screen. So, and you understand what it is. We don't need to set add, we don't need to set more, we don't need to say all of these things. You understand the plus, you understand the trash, you understand the arrow pointing to the right on the music player. We don't need to say play. We don't need to we put one icon floating in the air. Yeah, you understand, right? So when you build your layout in FileMaker, you need to think like this. If you start to be in the business of putting borders, backgrounds, and different color states, you need to pick what you need, right, to use at the right time, right? It is important sometimes to give a feedback of what you're doing, but you don't need to do for all the feedbacks. Sometimes it is important to know that you can when you hover, you give a feedback to add what we call discoverability. That means you want people to be able to discover it by themselves by hovering. So something happened when I hover. Okay, that means I can do something here, right? But you don't need to fill all of this for all the objects. Sometimes I see you have hover state on total, you have hover state on fields, you have hover state on button. You're not necessary at all. There's buttons. There's no necessity of doing this. The press state, maybe the hover. Well, it's a button. Why you want to emphasize this, right? When it's not obvious, you can use it, but it's punctual, right? So if you're not in the business of borders, borders, you're not in the business of this. You're not in the business of background on fields, right? And when you need a background, you have one background, right? You have one background. Well, you use a shape. You have a shape, and then you put your field on top of it, right? So if you have a design that is easy to build and easy to maintain, right? Without complexity in design, the borders, all the borders business combined with the states, the hover, the press, the in focus. I'm going to show you all of this, but I'm having this discussion with you to understand the concept here, right? If you go too much, too much, you will spend hours, days dealing with your theme, and at the end of the day, we have something so complex that you will never use the styles or the objects because you have too many. So it's complicated to read. You need to have a few major main objects that comply with, let's say, 75% of your needs. After that, you can have what we call custom style, right? Custom share style, right? So this is a theme that I built for you guys a long time ago, like 2 years ago. It's based on the Discord app. Same colors, same styles, right? So you can see here you have pretty much all the objects that you can have. You have background, you have shape, you have different objects here, checkboxes, radio button, menus, you have the small version and the tall version. I'm going to show you how to do this, the same for this. I'm going to show you all of these things, how you can get, you know, big object and small object, especially for the the what's the name? The tab control. Even though the tab control, this is a tab control, right? And I'm going to show you how we can do the big one and the small one, right? And you have the slides here, and so you have many objects here. So we're going to run through all of this, right? And we are going to have fun with this. So let's say I'm going to create a brand new, you know, let's say you want to start from scratch, okay? Even though, uh, we never do that, but, new theme. So, fields. So we have text. I will need text, numbers, number, dates, and time. Time, date, numbers. Well, right? And I want to start from scratch. So let's say I have nothing here. I have a body. And here is the basic of the basic, right? This is the equivalent of classic of FileMaker 11, pretty much. Let's say is the most basic possible. With there's nothing there. White, black, and gray. Okay. So I'm starting with this with the minimalist, right? Right. And then we're going to start learning about things like this. So I'm going to put this here, right? And I'm going to open, I don't know if I have, let me pause this, FM starting point. I don't know if I have it. I might have it, master NHM copy, okay. Normally I have it here, yes. Then I can reuse components of my let me see, component of this. Okay. See, so I have all those objects here, so I can borrow styles and stuff like this, right? So the first thing we need to know, about an object, right, is that you have different states, right? You have different states and you have different components. For example, those are very simple objects. It's an edit box. You have one component. Same for the number. Same for the date. It's an edit box. Same for the time. Same for the text. You have only one component, here, text. And then you have different states. Here the same, different states. Normal, hover, press, in focus. Well, so let's explain what this state means. This is a normal state. That means when you hear this is a normal state, then you have the hover states, right? Then you have the press state and the in focus state. So of course, you have states that doesn't apply to uh, all object. I mean, the pressed on the text box, well, doesn't have any. It has an impact when you click on it and you release, right? So let's have a try on the button, for example. This is the normal state. Then you have the hover state, right? Here they are exactly the same, but I can have a difference, right? So if I do an hover state here, or I need to have a script here, something, the hover a button, right, cannot be activated. Any of those will work if you don't have something attached here, an action. If you have no action, nothing will happen, right? Here something happened, over. Here nothing happened. They're the same object, right? So the hover state and then the press state and then the in focus. So you see here we have different, the normal is like this, gray, light gray. The hover is blank. The pressed is darker than the normal. And the in focus is border blue, electric blue, right? So let's see how it works. Normal state, hover, press, and the in focus, how to get into the in focus, right? Well, let's say I have a tab order and I'm putting this object inside the tab order, right? And I'm tabbing like this, in focus. I have the focus. So normal, hover, press, and the in focus. How we can get the in focus also, by putting a name on the button, and having a script. Go to objects, go to button, okay? So if I use this, script, if I'm here and I'm playing this, boom, I'm going to the focus. That means I can, a button with a focus, right? Let's put something else here. Okay. So I can do this space bar. I can activate this with a space bar, right? So I can do this or space bar or whatever, can return space bar and enter, right? So you can have the focus. When you have the focus, you can activate with a space bar, right? That's the focus, right? Focus on the, so you have the same type of states on on an object like a field, right? So normal is like this. Hover, I can put like a background. Press like this. And in focus like this. Generally, we put a border like this electric blue, right? Hover, press, and in focus, right? But here you see you have a combination of both. Normal, hover, press, right? And in focus, right? Hover, normal, hover, press, in focus. But this is in focus. Here we have the in focus and the hover. In focus and the hover. Here I have the normal, hover, press, in focus. But you see the background? That means because the mouse is there. See? So that's why it can be a big mess if you go too far. Knowing that you have an impact on every single component. That means when you hear all of those, all of this, right, is controlled by this. For example, let's say normal, I'm putting that like this. In hover, I'm putting that like this and like this. In press, I'm putting that 16 and blue with, I don't know, no background, right? And in focus, I'm putting that, I don't know, underline, italic, right? So you have all the on the text. So here, so this is normal, normal, hover, see, press, in focus. So so just to show you that you have an impact on everything here, right? Now, remember, I told you that object are that's more complex object than normal, right? So all the objects are not as easy as this one, right? Or this one, right? So the button, for example, what the component of the button? You have two components. You have the button itself, and then you have the icon. Icon, you have few things you can do, pretty much only the color, right? So, but here the difficulty to understand. Button, this is the hover state pressed and in focus of the button. This will be the normal the hover, the pressed, and the in focus of the button, of the icon. So this is the states of the button. And if you switch here, this is the states of the button, of the icon. So now you have two, right? See? Correct? Right? All the states for the button and the icon. So now you understand something, right? That you can go crazy if you do too far, if you go too far, because you can have, for example, on the field here, on the normal state, you can say everything. You can check everything on the hover, pressed, right? And in focus, right? So see, boom, uh, see, you have the border color, everything changed, right? So you can do many things. Pretty much, you have an impact for each state on all of those things, right? All of those things. I start, I want to be basic a little bit because
Hmm.
it's always good to understand, you know, what we can do with all of those things, right? Okay,
Yes.
so if we good, let's go to an object a little bit more complex, okay, which is a popover, right? So what is a popover? It's a combination of two things: a panel, a button. It's a button. Nothing different than this one. This one, that's exactly the same thing. This and this the same. But this has a panel attached. See, I can select this and this, two things. And if I move this, I move all. It's a popover, right? So I have two objects, right? So here now I have button icon, right? I have the button itself and the icon. And here I have the popover and the popover content, right? That two is two objects here. I have two components, right? So what are they? So the button we know, I'm not going to go back there. It's the same of this one. What a popover. What a popover here. So let's change the color of this. This is the popover, right? And this is the content, right? Ah, you didn't know about this. You didn't know about this. That you have the popover itself, but within the popover, right? Within the popover, you have a sub object named content. Okay. Popover, you have the background, the border, right? The border that you can do this, right? You can put a shadow if you want, right? So I have a shadow, and so you can put we have many things you can do here, right? Correct. And you have, of course, you have a component inside called content, which you pretty much do nothing. You can do a border here, right? And you can put a border here, and you can put a background inside, right? And here in the popover itself, you can change the color of this. the text will change the color of the text, right? And here you have one state. You can do anything else. Normal. There's no hover back, But you can see now we have multiple, objects inside, right? So let's go now to an object a little bit more complex, right? Which is the portal, right? That's my portal, okay? So I have rows, right? It's a polar row. So I have the object itself, and I have the row. Two different things, object and the row. So this object, it can be a little bit, I don't recommend you use a background here, right? Because many of you guys have done this. You change the color of the background and nothing happened. The background stays. Why? Is because the background is on the row. If I put the background of the row transparent, then I have the portal, right? But let's say I'm doing this, right? So see, I have the background of this red, right? But nothing happened. If I remove the background here of the row, now I have it. So that's why it's better to keep this transparent and not using it. The object, use the row. The row is on top, right? The row is always on top of the object, right? So here in a portal, you have one state, you have multiple states here. You can have multiple states on the portal, right? And then you have the same on the row, right? But you have additional states that you don't have on other objects. Here we have on the row, you have different state, primary, alternate, active, overpriced. But this is proper to the polar row, right? So let's do this. Let's revert this to the different style. Here, as you can see, I have the normal state of the row and I have the active states of the row, right? Primary, active. And also I have the alternates. So what the alternate color? Well, if you use this option, then is looking like this. That the alternate color. The white is normal. The blue, the light blue is active. And the light gray is the alternate color. Correct? Right? So imagine this, all of this, right, is something you can control from themes, right? So you can have multiple style on your portals. We don't have any question.
Nope, people are saying that they're enjoying it.
Okay.
Also, always good to review occasionally. Nick's perspective often makes me think about things a different way, and I learn. There you go.
Yes. So now you understand my concern. imagine you have to deal with all of this, all this complexity, all those things, all those background, okay. So the message I want to convey is keep simple, keep simple, and you will save a lot of time. You can go and do all of this if you want, right? But it took me a large amount of time to build something like this, right? Yes, you can reuse it. You can use the work I've done, but it will never fit your needs, right? I mean, if you have a lot of different objects and stuff like this. So when you build a theme, right, from scratch, like I'm going to start doing, right? You want to keep simple, simple. So imagine a theme, right, where this has no border, only on focus. That's it. So this object has no border, no background, only on focus. I want the background, and I will show you why. And I want to have a corners, but a corner radius. But before to go there, I want to show you something, right? When I am in normal and I'm changing something here, right? It changed on hover, pressed, and in focus. Let me explain. I'm in normal and I remove this. Now hover, press, and in focus are 0. If I go back to normal and I put 5, now hover, pressed, and in focus has 5. Yeah. So you have things where being in normal and you change something, all the other state will follow. For example, let's say I want to increase that to 5, 7, 7, 5. 5, 5, 7, 7, see? Hover, press, in focus. So FileMaker helps a little bit, right? So, because more likely, if you change the padding, the corner radius, and the padding, and even the size of the fonts. For example, I'm in normal, and I'm going to put 13, so it's bigger. Well, hover, pressed, and in focus are 13. It followed. So that means it changed those state as well. What happened? What happened if I do this in pressed and I remove this in pressed? Well, it doesn't change hover, nor it change normal, nor it change in focus. I only change pressed. When you're in normal and you change it, that will change back, but that will affect all the states when you start from normal, right? So who knew about this? Who realized this?
I was not aware of this.
So that is important. The normal, starting from normal and changing all the padding, all those things, you can change them in normal, and that will spread to all the states. So I don't think if I do this, this will affect all the style. Yeah, it does. See, right? So when if I do if I change from pressed and I change this, well, it didn't change normal, hover, it only changed pressed. If I change normal and I put this, it changed hover, pressed, but not in focus. That's a smart thing happening here, right? That means FileMaker will understand that you want to do something like this, change all the states, but not the one where you have a custom style. Let's say I'm doing this. I have a custom style from this if pressed, right? So let's put something more flashy. We can see, right? I am in the pressed, right? If I go to normal and I change the status normal, hover, pressed isn't touched because I have a custom style to that state. Now, if I go to normal, I copy the style of the state with this arrow. This copies the style. I go to pressed, I paste the style. So that means now normal and pressed are the same. If I go to normal and I remove this, if I go to press, no, it stays, yeah. Yeah, it's crude when you do that. That means you can reset the button. Oh, I mean the object, it won't reset, even if you have the same style, right? So that works only once, I'm afraid, you know. But anyway, you know, and if you do, that means if you need to have another object brand new, and that, you know, and starting from there, but I'm not sure it will do that, right? Yeah. Yeah, you have a custom style attached to it. That's it. There's no, the only thing we need to say is revert to default and then start from scratch, right? So do we have any questions so far?
No, people were agreeing that they didn't know about that. So,
Okay. Let's go to an object a little bit more complex, which is, in my opinion, the most complex object we have in FileMaker, right? So the button bar, the dividers, the segments, and the icon, right? So that's the button bar, right? That's the button bar. So every button, so you have a button here. So I can remove those frames, right? I have the button bar. So we have all the object, all the thing here, the state, but you have two new states, the active and the inactive. Okay? We have segments, we have divider, and we have the bar itself, right? We have the bar, we have the segments and the icon, and you have the divider. Because this here, the dividers, are not maintained with those. They are not They're not this, right? Look, you have the divider, and then you have the border right and the border left. This is the border left, this is the border right of the button. See? So you can screw up big league your stuff very quickly if you don't know what to do, right? Because this look ugly, right? So that's why, I'm coming back to the object here is complex. We have segment, you have the icon, because they are buttons, right? So you have icons, okay? So you can change for all the states, you can change the color of the icon, correct? So you have a lot of object here and a lot of components and a lot of states. So you have the active one and the inactive one. So what happened? What is the active state and what is an inactive? This is active, inactive, two different things. Well, this is where you active, inactive. Let's activate one. Active, inactive, right? You can change, free, right? Now you can put an activation based on the calculation, right? For example, let's say I have a number, right? And here I put a name. This is the button 1. This is the button 2. This is the button 3. And this is the button 4. And then you can activate the calculate. So this is hard-coded activation of segment, none or which one you want. Or you can do that by button, by calc. But the calc will say the name of the objects. The name of the objects will drive the activation. So here in this, here I said, see the name is button 4. And here button 3, button 2, button 4. But I said, whatever button ends the number. So if I put 1 here, this one will be activated. If I put 3 here, this one will be activated. If I put 4 here, this one will be activated. If I put 2 here, this one will be activated. So the activation is based on the name of object, but it can be easily based on a calc, even though I don't have a calc per se for activate the activate button. I have a calc here, but I'm saying if the button and the number is equal, if this combine, right? This is a name, the text that FileMaker is going to return, button 2. And since it's a calc based on these fields, I can change the name of the button easily. 1, button 1, button 2, button 3. And here, this guy will automatically understand what I'm going to do. So if we don't have any questions, I think we're good.
It
Do you
reminds
do you guys you want me to talk about something? I'm going to talk a little bit more about object as we build the theme, but I think we're good now to build the theme. So go ahead, Marge.
uh No, someone said it reminds me of the option in auto enter calculations. If field is not empty, do not replace contents.
Where?
Auto enter calculations.
Yes, but I don't have any. So what the point of the auto entry calculation?
I think they're just making a connection. So I don't know exactly
Yeah,
where the connection was because
because
YouTube is about 90 seconds behind us. So
yeah, it's because I don't. This here, this calc here. So we need to be careful. This calc here is like having an unstored calc on the layout. Not the same thing. They are unstored calculation, like conditional, right? So all those calculations about segments, about many things. So hidden states, conditional, active segments, tooltips. They are unstored calcs. So be careful because you can screw up big league your stuff, right? Oh, that's something. Can you write down, Marge? Let's do our conditional formatting webinar. How many of you guys have screwed up big league layout with conditionals? Just I'm making a poll.
I've definitely seen some people have some real disasters with conditional. So
Yeah, because the problem that's a big problem. Okay, conditional is a big problem. These two, the active segment, you need to be sure what you do. Okay. So active segments, I'm not going far from this, right? I'm not going far from this. I can say, I don't know. For example, I can go like if is empty this, then put one, otherwise this, right? So that means if you there and you empty this, it go to one if it's empty. If you put one, it works the same, but by default, this empty. So you can do stuff like this. But here, I never go to another layer, another table. No, the the return on this, the result of this need to be the name of the button that you're going to activate here, right? So each button is a name. So you have button 1, button 2, 3, 4, right? So that's why. Be careful what you do. All those calc on the layouts. So if we don't, since I have a meeting right away,
I think we're good. I will let you go then. Thank you very much, Nick. This has been
okay.
awesome.
Yeah. So tomorrow we continue a little bit more and we start building theme and but on the object pretty much it's the same for all object. I let you deal with this. I came with the tricks about the normal and stuff like this, right? And I'm going to come with many other tricks in the future, but in the tomorrow, right?
Yep, that'll be awesome. I think I'll be excited to see that. So,
Yeah.
okay. Let everyone have a good day. I will see you
Okay.
tomorrow on
You
Tuesday.
too. See you tomorrow. Have a good
Bye-bye.
one. Bye bye.